blood.
The blood must flow.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Ancestral Blood, our Vampire the Masquerade, 5th edition, of course, V5, mini chronicle. This will actually be a short series. It'll be about 3 episodes of this chronicle, but who knows, maybe it could get into something bigger. But for now, we have it set for 3 episodes. And we're very excited to have you here and joining us for our first episode. Just let us know, chat, if there's any issues with audio, if the music sounds off or doesn't sound loud enough, or if anybody's audio sounds off, just so we can make the adjustments ahead of time. So, before we get into our session tonight, I do want to go through a couple of things, a couple of housekeeping things. First, I want to start with a little bit of a story about how this all came to be, how this little VTM chronicle came to be, because I think it kind of adds some interesting context as to what we'll be playing tonight. So, you probably, if you watch a lot of MagiRPG stuff, you recognize all the faces here. We are all very good friends, and we've been playing tabletop games together for quite a long time. And this particular group here has been very interested in playing Vampire the Masquerade for some time, for like years. We've wanted to actually play VTM, but it is obviously a lot of work to run a chronicle, and especially for all of us, we've only gotten to VTM with V5, so it does take some time for us to kind of learn everything. So with that, we decided to, since I have been a player of Vampire the Masquerade since 2018 when V5 first came out, I was like, you know what? Let me run a chronicle for you guys, where you all kind of play fledglings, you play some fresh licks, and you get yourself familiar with the world of darkness with Vampire the Masquerade. And then in the future, on MagiRPG, we are planning on running a bigger chronicle that maybe we probably won't be playing fledglings. I don't even think we'll be playing neonates. We might be playing something a little bit older. So I think it's important to have some of this background before we go into a bigger chronicle like that. And I think the best way to learn is to play rather than just reading the book. And I can tell you, these players have been really reading the book and in the books, especially our Tremere. As a good Tremere, he should be in the books. But they've really been studying up and getting ready for this. So I applaud them. And so I do want to preface that we are all still learning. And as we're playing this game, there may be some things that A, we mess up, or B, like, it may not be as, if you're like, well, that wouldn't happen in VTM. Just know that this is my world, and this is my story, and if there's something that you don't agree with me telling the story, well, I'm so sorry to tell you, just watch where you're going in the evenings, because it might not end well for you. So just be careful of what you say. I actually probably won't be reading chat much because I'm going to be in tunnel vision mode, just kind of focusing on the story. So anything y'all say, I'll be reading the comment, or I'll probably watch the VOD later and listen. So that's the little story of how we all came to be. We were going to play this offline, but it's like, nah, let's stream it. Or like we wanted to like maybe do like a test run of VTM offline, but let's just stream it, okay? So we're kind of crash coursing this in some ways. With all of that being said, I do want to introduce our players. Again, if you've watched MagiRPG, and I know most of you watching now have, you know all these faces already, but this is a new chronicle, this is a new game, and so we might have a new audience. So I would just like to introduce our players. So players, tell us who you are, like what you do on the internet, where we can find you, and then just tell us the name of your character and what clan they are. So I am going to go, let's see, I'm going to start, I'll start with you, George, and we'll go around, do a little around the circle here. So George, as our kind of guest character, and you see a lot of the promotions we've been doing, we've been introducing the 4 fledglings. George is playing somebody a little bit different, but why don't you introduce yourself, George?
Oh, I am Glorious George, and I am playing Jacques Lysander. I am you can call me Uncle Jacques, and I am a Nosferatu. I'm very excited to see where our fledglings go. I'm a little bit older than them. I'll leave the details aside until we get further into the game, but Uncle Jacques is a well-kempt old man of old money. He has some degenerate disease that makes him a little bit more squeamish to look at.
Oh, I love the details, Uncle Jacques. Let's go. Well, George, what place that people can find you, or anything you want to?
You can find me everywhere as Glorious George. Mostly here on MagiRPG, running D&D sessions and things like that.
Yes. Thank you. And next we will go to Stormbeard. You do not have to introduce yourself in character. You can be normal.
You can be normal. Well,
you can choose.
Yes. Well, as you know, as we are in good old Chicago, I don't see us having very deep accents like our uncle does. But yeah, my name is Chris. Also Stormbeard, the Stormbeard. You can find me here on Fridays, Thursdays, Tuesdays now, and now Mondays. Yeah, it's a long week.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, so, I primarily play in Grim Domains where we usually kill vampires, but now I am playing as one. And I am playing Silas Lysander, the oldest brother of the Lysander family. And I am the superior clan Tremere.
I am not biased by it. These four happen to be playing four of my favorite clans within VTM, so that's also very exciting for me. We just need a Lasombra, and then the pentagram of Tracy's favorite VTM clans would be complete. So I am very excited to have Silas. And Chris is our resident Chicagoan. He's actually from Chicago, and our setting tonight is in Chicago, so he will correct me if he's the only one who's allowed to correct me on anything, because if I get something wrong with Chicago, I expect you to tell me. So yeah. All right, next up, let's introduce May.
Hi, that's me. I have never been to Chicago and I've never played Vampire the Masquerade, but I did watch all of What We Do in the Shadows in preparation for this because I'm sure it's exactly the same. I am maelefay on everything. I play D&D and Pathfinder, and I make videos about playing D&D and Pathfinder, and now Vampire the Masquerade. And basically, I like to spend most of my time pretending I'm somewhere else. I mean, with my friends.
Love that. Okay, and next, let's introduce Momo.
Hello. I am Momo, obviously. My tiny little dog is barking now. Of course, she wants to be introduced too. I'm the themomobee everywhere. I make D&D content, and also I have videos out about my character I'm playing today already on TikTok about Willow. I'm playing Willow Lysander. I am the baby of the family, and I am playing a Malkavian tonight. And hopefully not a bad one.
we believe in you, Momo.
I promise, I swear I won't be a bad one. A fish mouth.
And last but not least, let's introduce usulbard, aka Bijan.
Yep, my name is Bijan. I go by usulbard online. I play in a lot of the games on MagiRPG. Thursday, Rock and Roll Play, I GM. Friday, Grim Domains I'm in, and Monday now, and Tuesday in our Blades in the Dark game. I make a lot of the music for the theme songs for our campaigns, and I'll be playing as Dorian Lysander, second eldest of the family of Clan Ventrue, and I work at our father's company, hopefully soon to take over if I have my way.
And that is our entire crew.
What about yourself? Don't forget yourself.
Oh,
introduce yourself.
I'm Miss Magitek, the Storyteller. I will be driving our story tonight, and you can find me here at MagiRPG 4 nights a week as well. Please watch all of our other shows and support us if you can. We have, I'm actually going to go through our shows. We have tomorrow night, Blades in the Dark, so feel free to tune into our Blades in the Dark. We have Thursday, Rock and Roll Play. We have Friday, Grim Domains, and of course, Sunday, Icewind Dale. So we probably have a show for you, depending on what your tastes are, what your interest is. if you love Vampire, we're happy to have you here. If you love Blades in the Dark, we'll see you tomorrow. So we hope to see you for any of our other shows. Last but not least, I do want to lay out a bit of a content warning, as Vampire the Masquerade is a very dark role-playing game. A lot of the role-playing games that we play here on Magitek RPG are on the darker side. If you've watched Grim Domains, honestly, you're probably prepared for
You'll
prepared.
be fine.
You're prepared for VTM. You're fine. But it does. We do touch on some very dark elements in our storytelling. So please watch with discretion. Step away if you need to. We have content warnings in the chat. All of the players have their lines and veils, and we discuss them. Oh, honestly, we discuss them in many of our games, so we know all of our lines and veils. So yeah, just watch with discretion, and that's your content warning. So, anything else that I missed? Any other final words before we get into our game tonight, players?
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you for putting this on.
Thank you for putting this game together.
Thanks for playing with me.
Thanks for teaching us babies.
Thanks for all the support, everybody. You all are amazing. Oh my God.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
All right, without further ado, let's dive in to Ancestral Blood. It's a crisp September morning in the city of Chicago. As the sun rises over the windy city skyline with a clear sky view of the iconic John Hancock Center, the Willis Sears Tower, and the Neo-Gothic Tribune Tower, we see the streets filled with Chicagoans going about their daily, mundane lives. Children and young adults head to school and university. Business people head to their places of work. Vendors and shop owners open their stores to sell their wares. Tourists flock the Chicago River, snapping photos of the scenic views. These same mundane days also go by for the children of the Lysander family, an affluent and powerful family with a strong lineage of success and prosperity in Chicago. Their family business in residential and commercial property management. The current owner, none other than Silas Lysander Sr., a man who these days is just a face. For his company, Ethos Investment Properties, has thrived under an excellent board of trustees and executives who have helped bring good business to the city of Chicago and help his wonderful children excel in their young adult lives. We have Willow, a promising art student. Today, she heads out to school as she knows this is her last semester before she finally finishes art school. We have Valerie, a young, beautiful model, walks out of her latest gig to a small cafe with some of her closest friends. Silas, the only one who does see the night often, is just getting home from another late-night shift at the hospital. And Dorian, a young progeny, getting himself situated in his best suit, ready to head into his family's business. What a picture-perfect family of successful heirs of Silas Lysander Sr., all gifted in their own right. But little did the Lysander children know that this day would be the last day they ever saw the sunrise. For tonight and forevermore, this city will be unlike anything they've ever known. So as night falls on this September evening, I want to ask you all a simple question. First of all, what does your character look like on a mundane Tuesday night? The evening has arrived. What does your character look like, and what do they do on a Tuesday night? Let's start. Hopefully I don't freak you out for starting first. Let's start with you, Dorian. We'll go down the line from there.
Well,
what does Dorian
on a
look like?
Tuesday night, after spending time in the office, after working to help the family business grow and to help improve its public image, after years of our father making questionable choices that put our family in a negative light as far as the public is concerned. I like to go out and have a good time. I would probably be out in out to a club to have a good time with some of my friends. Some friends that maybe I know from law school in college, and possibly some of the younger folk at the office. People like me that like to go out and have a good time, even on a Tuesday night.
And what about you, Willow? What does Willow look like on this Tuesday, and what would she be doing?
I would say, to get into specifics, because I love to get into the specifics of the aesthetic of the character. Willow is very much your stereotypical snobby art kid. That like she loves to wear anything that makes her look unlike anyone else. Probably tonight she is maybe she's walking because she thinks it's cool and makes her different from her other rich friends to walk instead of take one of her father's like limos or even Dorian's helicopter to one of her showcases, of course, that she got because, well, I mean, it's not because of father's money, of course, it's because she's an art prodigy. Well, why else would it be? To one of her studio shows tonight. And I imagine it's probably fairly cold, and she's wearing a little tiny cropped jacket with fur around the edges and like a tiny little black and purple bodycon dress with big old like high like oh gosh, what are they called? Demonias. Oh, she's a demonia girl.
Oh,
those are the shoes she wears with like big old buckles up the sides.
How tall do they make her? I have to know.
Yeah, what's
so
her height
I feel
need
like
to know?
normally she's probably 5'5".
Oh, dang.
But she wearing those demonias that make her like 5'8". They're like they got like a good 3-inch on them. And she's got like bag in hand, of course, with a few extra pieces, portfolio in hand, kind of briskly walking through the night to her studio show tonight.
And what about you, Val? What do you look like, and what are you doing this evening?
Val is a model, but it's kind of what I was telling Tracy earlier is it's in the kind of like odd looking way. Like she looks very unique, like in like an Anya Taylor-Joy way, like the big eyes really far apart, like that kind of more like an artsy kind of model. She has bleach blonde hair. She just got back from a trip, so you can just start to see her darker roots that match the rest of her siblings starting to pop out. And she has light blue-gray eyes, and she's wearing, like, it's not really a top. It's, like, definitely supposed to be lingerie, like this, like, black corset thing, but she's wearing it as a top because she's one of those annoying people who can just wear whatever, and it doesn't matter because they look great. And then just, like, dressing it down with, like, maybe some jeans. And after hanging out with her friends during the day, she would probably, like her brother, be hitting up the club. I like the idea that they have one that they're kind of like, they don't own this club, but like they own this club. Like they walk in and they're like in charge. So maybe that's the same club then. And she's going because she knows that her ex-girlfriend will be there. They just broke up again. And she wants to look really good and go out and pretend to not see her there.
If we're at the same club, I did look up a club that we could be at. We could be at the Soho
OMG.
House.
Not the
Soho
Soho
House.
So bougie.
A private members club,
fancy.
exclusive rooftop pool, restaurant lounge.
Okay.
We could be there.
Let's do
I'll
it.
make a note.
So House.
As Jason Carl says, I'll make a note. And last but not least of the four children, Silas, what are you up to this evening?
So like you said, Silas does work nights. He is in his residency at Rush Chicago Medical Center, close to the Loop. He works in the ER, studying to be a emergency trauma doctor. And Silas would get off work. he's kind of a night owl, and he would go check in on a woman named Ethel, who he makes house calls for. And after that, he is kind of the black sheep of the family. He wouldn't be seen at the club they all go to, and he'd go home and he would sit down with a nice book or some Netflix and light up a cigarette and just fall asleep after his shift. He has disheveled, dirty blonde, brownish hair. He wears these circle-rimmed glasses, and kind of keeps to himself when it comes to the family. He's kind of distanced himself. That was kind of his goal growing up, is just kind of make a name for yourself, and at the end of the day, it's not all about Dad.
Well, tonight, it's hard for the four of you to remember what exactly happens. It's little fragments of memories from this evening. But there are some things that you can recall. It's interesting for all of you. You, the players, wouldn't describe this. But for the audience, it almost feels like tonight is a business transaction. What happens is swift and quick. And it's a night that hopefully at some point in time, the four of you will remember. Willow, at your show, at your art studio show, you remember seeing the usuals there. Even your boyfriend was there. The two of you have been getting more serious, and he was really here to support you on this night. But somebody else caught your eye. Somebody who, they looked at you, they were long, blonde hair, olive complexion. That's mostly what you can remember. You remember talking about art, and then it happened so quickly. You were out, gone. That's all you can remember. Val, you too. You were having a good night. You had a couple of drinks. You didn't go too hard. It's Tuesday, but you know you have a job in the morning. You have a gig. You know how to keep your composure on nights like this. And there she was, a woman who captivated you. You thought for a second it was your ex. She reminds you so much of her. The words she said to you, the things, it was entrancing. All you can remember is her piercing sapphire eyes. And that was it. Silas. It also happened rather quickly for you. You had a knock on the door. Somebody, one of your neighbors, there was a medical emergency, and they knew that you, as somebody who worked in the medical field, could help. It was a woman, long brunette hair, and a long jacket. They said that she hit her head. You checked her pulse, and it seemed like she was dead. She was dead. And then it happened. You can't remember much else. But for you, Dorian, you do remember a lot of it. At this club, you were enjoying the night. You did say hi to your sister, the two of you. Your usual exchange of kind of surface level talk of how work has been. Have you heard from the family? No. and you moved on. You met with some of your coworkers. They all stood up straight because they saw somebody. It was your father. Silas approached you. Silas Sr. You haven't seen him in years, your father. You have communications with him from time to time, but again, he's not really involved with the company as much as he used to be, and he looks to you. Hello, boy.
Dad. Hi.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been years. It's good to see you.
It is good to see you as well, Dorian.
What are you doing here? This doesn't seem like your kind of place to hang out.
Well, tonight's a special night, son. There's something I need to tell you. And
Something happened?
Come with me. And he takes you away from the crowd, away from everything at this club, at the Soho House, to a back room, and you feel the embrace from your father. To describe this to you, it's shocking. You're not really sure what happens all in the moment. It doesn't really make sense, but your father just took a bite from you and is drained your blood till you barely have been able to hold on to consciousness. It's traumatizing, it's frightening, and you nearly go into shock and panic. And then he gives you his blood. You don't really understand, you don't really even take it at first. It just happens. And then you're gone from consciousness. You black out. The four of you roused the next evening from what feels like not a slumber. You were just out. Silas, you may be the only one to kind of understand what this is. You were like almost in a coma state. And then you wake up. You're not sure what's going on. You're not sure where you are, the four of you. You're in a room together. And it takes a moment. You see each other, your siblings, all in front of you. And you try to gather your bearings. You feel different. You feel off. Silas, you do feel cold to touch. Everything about this feels unnatural, and everything about this feels wrong. But more than anything, you all feel one thing: a hunger. You feel a beast that quells up inside. And it's like nothing you've ever felt before. What do you all do in this moment as you look at each other?
Silas is, he is checking his pulse and doing things that doctors would do and being like, what the fuck is going on? Why do I not have a pulse? Why do I feel this urge? And also, where the hell am I? With my family that I try to not see as much as I should.
I mean,
Where are we, Silas? Willow?
There are no windows in this room. You're in a room, but as you take a moment to gather your bearings, the four of you, again, in a state of still shock, it's hard to really comprehend what's going on. But you do feel a sense of where you are. You're at your old home, your family's home. You recognize the interior. It's a room with kind of very plain furniture, like an interior designer came to decorate it. It's not like it's not like IKEA shit. It's like, it's nicer furniture. But it's all very forcibly put together by somebody. And you know that your family has had people come and decorate rooms. This room you haven't really been in before, but you do recognize the atmosphere of this room. And you do all for a second understand you're home at your parents' place. You all haven't been here in a very, very long time because you all live out on your own in Chicago. You're at your parents' place.
oh fuck.
Willow, are you okay?
She scrambles up. She's very scared.
Were you at Soho House?
Can we see in the dark? Like, can we see each other? Is it dark? Is it?
It is.
Or do I just hear her voice calling to me?
You do see each other. The light is dim in this room, but it's not completely black.
What kind of room does this look like? A dining room? A living room?
It looks like a
den?
It looks like a den. There are couches. There's like a bookcase. It's not a bedroom, but it looks like it's a den of sorts.
Is everyone kind of laying on the ground, just so I can get a vibe of, like, or sitting on the ground of sorts? Like, we all were laying on the ground and we just got up?
Yes, you all were on the ground. One of you may have been on the couch. There's a couple of couches in here, but you're all kind of positioned oddly in this room.
Okay, I will scramble up at hearing a familiar voice and, like, seeing my siblings, but since my sister is called out first, like, she'll kind of scramble up, and however far away she is, like, she'll kind of run over to her and, like, much like very baby energy, like, crawl into her arms. Like I think we're at home. I think we're at home, right? Dory, Sai? Oh God. Sai, you can't smoke in the house.
What the fuck is going on?
Oh
Silas,
my God.
As you do go to light the cigarette,
Uh-oh.
roll me if you're. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Joke. That was a joke.
Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it.
Oh, she's got jokes.
As you go to roll your to light your cigarette,
He's sweating.
you try to take that inhale that comes with smoking
Breathing? With breathing?
and the sensation is there, but you do not feel breath entering your lungs.
No smoke for you, brother.
What the fuck is going on?
Val?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Willow, what did you get us into this time?
I didn't do anything. Why do you always blame everything on me? I was going to a show. Where were you?
I was at home.
Wait, of course you were. You're shut in.
Val, we were at the Soho House. Do you remember how we got here?
I was dancing and drinking, but not that much. I never put my drink down anywhere. I would never.
Did you see Dad?
At the club?
You
It
saw
sounds
Dad?
crazy, but he was there. Yes, he
Dad
was
at a
there.
club? Stop lying. He would never.
Dad.
How much
Dorian.
did you drink?
I was pretty
fucked
drunk,
up.
but I swear it was him. I sobered up immediately.
I think it was a little bit more than alcohol.
I'm sure. You on pills again, Dory?
No,
Yeah.
no.
You saw Dad
No.
at a club.
Wait. Why are we home? Why are we in the den?
Everybody roll me a first roll of the evening.
Oh shit.
A resolve and composure. And
Hold
so
up.
how you do this, you actually have to roll composure, or no, I think the way the character sheet is, I think you have to, you either click resolve or composure, and then you add, like, if you click composure, you add resolve, and then you hit roll.
Gotcha.
Oh no, not my two lowest things.
Oh, I see. Oh my god, look at us. Babies are learning.
Do we put
Oh,
in?
it's asking for a
no-
difficulty.
No, you don't
modifier.
have to put a difficulty. You can just hit roll. And we will see everybody's successes. Oh my goodness.
We hope.
Oh, you know what this is? What's your guys's? One sec, let me check your hunger.
Says I got a success.
Okay. Well, you all rolled
I didn't roll.
very well. No, you rolled charisma stamina.
That was the one before. I just put it in and
okay.
pressed roll, but then it didn't go. So hold on 1 second. Sorry.
Composure and resolve. Okay, wow.
So mine says I have 4 successes.
Yes. Dorian, 4 successes. Silas, 5 successes. Willow, 3 successes. Oh, you all rolled pretty well.
We are very composed.
We're
God.
composed. Father taught us
I'm
well.
losing my
Let's see how-
composure just trying to figure out how to roll this.
Let's see how Val does. Come on, Val. You got this.
Come on,
do have-
sister.
You
I
got
have
this.
it as Val. I'm pressing submit each time. I don't know
Let me
what
see.
is happening because I rolled before. Maybe if I do it in the I have my character sheet popped out, but I did before. Let me try it on the screen.
I did it on the screen because I was
Oh.
scared it would do that. So maybe that'll
Well,
work.
Her dice pool is
It
not great
did
for
work
this.
before. Yeah, no, it's really bad.
No.
No, I'm not stalling. What do you mean?
No, she'll be
Oh.
okay. She'll be
Alright, hold
okay.
She'll be
How
fine.
did you guys all roll, like... Oh, damn.
I
Okay.
did pretty high wits and resolve. Don't ask me why I did that.
Did you just backspace for the challenge level?
I just left it whatever it was at. Which was I think 2 for me. I just left it alone, whatever was in there.
Can I roll my dice?
You could.
While I figure it out.
Hello.
So I have 2
We're
and
learning,
1.
thank you.
So 3
So-
d10.
3
And then you have to add 1 hunger die.
Oh, I'm hungry.
Because we hungry?
So 4d10? Or no,
I
that's
just
it.
had sushi. I'm
Okay.
not hungry.
So how do you roll a hunger die?
It automatically
tell
added
me
it, it looks
about
like.
It automatically adds it in your pool for roll 20. That's why.
How
it's
do
in
I
this.
roll it physically?
Well, you're gonna have to. You know what? Let me just try rolling for you. One moment. Let's see.
Mother will roll
I'll,
for
I'll
you.
fiddle with it while I'm
Mother.
between things.
Mother, roll
Mom-
please.
Mother roll for me.
Okay.
Mother.
Help, I'm
Ooh.
helpless.
Oh no. Oh,
Uh,
wait, that's good, I think.
You all rolled pretty well.
Hee-hee.
Okay.
With 2 successes
Fuck
as
it, we
well
ball.
for Val. This hunger that you all feel, it's like a lingering annoyance. And as you all are talking to each other and your siblings and you all lead your own lives and you all grew up together and like even trying to figure this out, it just kind of writhes at you a little bit talking to all your siblings right now like this. It's annoying and frustrating and it gets you kind of angry.
Oh, good. Good for us.
Alongside this hunger you feel, it's becoming more and more irritating. But you all maintain composure. None of you lash out. But there is that lingering feeling you feel.
So does anyone have any idea what the hell's going on and why are we home?
No, do you think if we knew we would be hiding it from each other?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, it surprise
yeah,
you?
gotcha. It's a big prank. Haha. Right?
Dorian said he saw Dad. When's the
Yeah.
last time
I
either of
did.
you saw Dad?
I see Dad like every summer. I live here, you idiot.
Every summer. Yeah, sounds like a good dad.
Well,
Like
that's more than you see him.
a year ago.
And I'm glad that that's more than that you see him more than I do.
As
was
you all
acting strange. He. Never mind.
Never mind.
you
Never
think-
mind. Oh,
Dorian,
sorry, Trace.
you
Tracy,
think
go
for a
ahead.
moment, and you do remember parts of what your father did last night.
God.
And it's hard to grasp. It doesn't feel real. And you struggle for a
think-
moment at telling them.
I want to tell them, but I don't think they don't even believe he was there. They're not going to believe that he bit me and drained my blood and then had me drink from his blood. It seems like a lot.
So, you choose to tell them or not to tell them, Dorian?
I don't tell them anything.
And as you all
Fucking
continue to bicker and argue and figure out what exactly is going on, you hear a knock on the door. And then it doesn't call for you to answer. It's a courtesy knock because the door opens and you
course.
see your Uncle Jacques standing at the door.
We say Uncle Jacques
Jacques,
often.
Yeah, how familiar are we with Uncle Jacques?
you are similar to your parents. You do not see him often. You see him during occasional holidays, and he's always been a little bit unsettling to all of you. That creepy uncle that you just never want to talk to. And I don't think any of you really took the time to get to know your Uncle Jacques. As he stands at the door. Jacques, can you describe what you look like in this moment at the door, staring at your four relatives?
I'm leaning my head back. I have slick black hair that's slowly turning gray. Again, I look sickly, thin and gaunt. But my head's leaning back with a smile on my face as I assess the four children in this room.
Uncle Jack?
Oh my gosh. Uncle Jacques. Hi. Hey.
I knew he was a pervert.
What's that smell? Oh my god.
Stinky.
You can
is
smell
interest-
that? Smells
All right.
sweet, doesn't it?
What?
It
You
is
all feel it,
interesting.
don't you?
This is getting weirder and weirder.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
Um,
Dorian saw Dad, now Uncle Jack is here, and
I want to leave.
Well, maybe you believe me now after seeing Jacques here. I mean, come on. We haven't seen him for about as long.
Oh, but I've seen you.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, that sounds like something.
I think we're gonna be seeing a lot more of each other.
Oh no. See, I have things to do. I think I should leave. I have places to be.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
And as you do say that, Jacques, another figure comes behind, and it's actually a woman. It's not your mother.
Oh.
It's a younger woman. She's probably in her 40s or 50s. You all recognize her as a woman that hangs around your father often. Let me pull up her name really quick. Lara is her name. Lara. Lara.
Harlot.
She has long, reddish hair, and she wears a simple but elegant dress. And it is rather low cut.
Oh, of course.
She has a nice necklace that is obviously very expensive. And she enters the room next to Jacques. Well, hello, children.
children.
This is getting weird.
It is
What,
good
Laura?
to see you.
Now Laura's here.
Wait.
I'm sure you all have many questions.
Oh.
Where's
Yes,
Alan?
Your brother, yes. Well, he's studying abroad, is he not? In Europe?
Last time we talked, yeah, but
Yes. And that is where he is.
Wait, I'm confused. I thought you were sleeping with Dad. Are you sleeping with our uncle too?
Oh,
God,
you
gross.
got both the brothers? Oh my
I'm sure you all have many questions, and I'm here to invite you to dinner
It's
with
my
your father
house.
and mother.
Fuck.
They're waiting for you in the dining room.
oh, this is gonna be good.
No, it's not. Don't start. She looks at Silas and Dorian. Don't you start fights.
No, we're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
Every time we try and have a family dinner, you two mess it up.
Maybe if Dad wasn't such a dick, it wouldn't be such a problem.
As long as there's
Maybe-
drinks, I'm in.
As soon as I get an answer, I am leaving.
Jacques looks up. At Laura, right? That was her name?
Lara, yes, Lara, Lara.
Laura. I told him they weren't ready.
Of course. Well,
Doc,
You
what are
want to know
even
what this
doing
is
here?
all about?
Yeah, we'd like some fucking answers.
Inheritance. It's about your inheritance.
Inherit.
Oh God, is Dad changing the will? Are you
Uh,
serious?
all of this for inheritance. Drugged us, brought us to our room like we're
Serious?
5.
I am not fighting them.
Usually
Oh.
this is done through lawyers. I don't.
You
What is
don't
what
need
is
to be
going on?
concerned, and lawyers won't need to be involved. You're all receiving quite the boon.
Daddy
But
said
they're
that
all-
I get the
Ooh.
helicopters.
A
so
boon, guys, a boon. I wonder how much that I can exchange that down at the pawn shop for.
Is Dad sick? Is that why we're talking about inheritance right now? Is he?
We're
dying?
all sick.
Oh my God! Did she poison him? She just points at Laura. I knew it.
perhaps
I
it's
told them
best-
I told them they weren't ready. I told them both.
Perhaps it's best you ask the source itself. Dinner is
Oh.
awaiting.
Why does everything sound so fucking cryptic?
Why don't you ask your father?
Give eyeball emojis to. I do the little Silas and Dorian as we walk in, like, don't you start shit. I know you do.
Him.
I do.
Do the four of you continue to bicker, or do you make your way
No, I'm walking
to
in.
the dining room?
Silas
Father
is going
has
to get
called.
some answers.
Yeah, Dad has
Yeah,
called for us. I will show up.
Okay. The four of you leave the den, and sure enough, the familiarity of this building becomes more apparent to you as you are in a beautiful penthouse,
Of course.
like multi-level. Like you guys are on one floor, and then your father has another floor above. On the Gold Coast, is that what it's called, Chris?
That's correct. It'd be on the Gold
Chicago.
Coast.
The Gold
Please.
Coast, which is one of the most affluent areas of Chicago. It's a tall, sleek, modern penthouse, and as you walk out into the hallway, you can see there are more windows, and it is indeed nighttime.
Hmm.
On one side of the hall, you see, overlooking the city of Chicago, you see an ocean of lights, and you see a beautiful city below you. And on the other side, you of course see a beautiful view of Lake Michigan. For you do have a waterfront view of the beautiful lake that resides in the city of Chicago. And it just, as you're walking down this hallway, everything feels different. You're home for all intents and purposes, but you do not feel settled. You do not feel well, and you still cannot figure out what is wrong with you. I would say you feel weak, but you don't even feel that. feels off. And you all walk to the dining room. A familiar room where you've had holidays, where you've had family. It doesn't have much fond memories for any of you, as you do remember many, many family arguments in this room. You remember that one time where your father abruptly left on a Christmas.
Yeah.
And you were stuck with the caretakers and Laura and all of the people that you don't even enjoy being around. It's a painful memory, this place. And you enter the dining room and you see there himself, your father, Silas. And you see your mother for the first time in a while, Anna. And they stand at the end of this long table, and there is no food on the table, despite being invited to dinner. The table has a beautiful centerpiece. You see the portraits, exquisite and extravagant. One even of Willow's portraits hangs in this room.
Your children are awake. Their hunger is making them irritable.
Can you take like 3 steps back? You reek.
As to be expected. Welcome, my children. Why don't you all have a seat? I'm sure you have many questions as to what happened last night.
Is that
Dad,
where we're gonna start, Dad? Yeah. I think Dorian and I are on the same page.
Oh, God, here we go.
I'm gonna sit further away from our parents and let the boys sit closer.
I don't know where are the boys taking closer seats? Because if not, I would happily sit next to Daddy.
No, Silas is not taking a closer seat.
I haven't sat down yet.
Neither has he.
Oh. I'll go sit next to Mom and Dad.
There, I'll be on the other side of Willow.
Okay, perfect.
Do the two of you sit? The boys?
No.
I walk a little closer
Oh my
towards where I might
God.
be sitting, but I do not take a seat yet.
God, come on, I'm hungry.
Weren't you just at a club?
Sit down,
Yeah.
boys.
But they have really, really good, like, breadsticks there.
I do, but I was busy doing other things.
Oh,
I'm-
okay.
I'm not 14 anymore, Dad. How about a, hey, son, nice to see you? It's been so long. Congratulations on graduating medical school.
I don't think there's time for pleasantries for what's to be discussed tonight. Have a seat, boy. You as well, Dorian.
But Dad, last night,
Yes, you remember it. I know you do, my son.
Wait, so Dad was actually at the club?
I told you he was at the club and he...
Have
Dorian,
a
take
seat. Silas.
Silas will begrudgingly pull out a seat at the farther end of the table and sit down.
How long is this table?
It's pretty long.
just wanna know.
It probably seats like 15 people.
We're just all on the
So-
same side.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
I'm here to talk to you about the family business, as you all are now in a new family business. You all woke up this evening and felt different, didn't you? Check, Silas.
Different.
You're a smart boy. You checked your pulse.
Of course I did.
There was none.
No.
Well, you all are my children, and you're very special the four of you. Your mother, she stands and she kind of just doesn't really talk much as your father is speaking. She stands in the corner. Actually, she does take a seat as well. He's still standing, but she sits. She sits next to you, Silas. And
mommy's boy.
He continues to stand and speak. You all are my children, and though I don't show the affections that some would expect to in a father, you all are very important to me. You all are very gifted. You all are very talented, and that is why I decided to bring you all into this family.
Dad, what are you talking about? What do you mean into the family?
I thought Dorian was the one.
Mom, I think you need to call Dad's doctor. I think he's entered like early stage dementia or something because he's not making any sense.
He's not that old.
Wait, are we adopted?
She puts a hand on you, Silas, and says, "Let him speak."
Not me.
You are my blood. You are my children. But now you enter a new life with me. Everything that you knew in this world isn't really what you knew. And moving forward, you will see the world from an entirely different perspective. I've brought you into a new life where you will never have to go about the mundane lives you once lived.
Mundane. Dad, I've been working at the company.
Son.
I've been working your vision. What do you mean?
Oh my god.
My vision is nothing that you thought it was, son.
You've been all living the life of cattle.
What?
You feel different, don't you? You feel that hunger, right?
Oh my god. He's on the conspiracy side of TikTok, Dad! Please!
You honestly think Dad has access to TikTok?
Oh, you're right. Wait. You're right. Never mind. Sorry.
That craving, that desire that you feel.
Sorry.
It's something you need to feed.
What?
All right, so let's go get eggs. I mean, what?
Yeah, like call a servant. We have
Dorian.
live-in chefs.
Dorian,
Can I make sushi?
why don't you tell your siblings what it is you saw last night? What it is that happened?
Dad, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't.
No,
Why don't
I'm
you tell
interested.
them, boy,
Come on, Dorian.
what happened?
Why don't you
Well,
grow a
can
spine finally?
understand
Yeah,
that
boy.
it might be a lot to take in. I haven't had so much as a hug from you since I was 12, and last night you bit me and drank from my blood.
I was right.
That's a
Oh,
pill.
well,
Conspiracy side.
I don't.
He's on pills again.
It doesn't.
Wait.
It sounds crazy. It sounds fucking crazy.
No, so Dad has Renfield syndrome.
What is
What?
that?
It's a psychological disorder where you have the need to drink blood.
No, Dory's just on pills again.
Is this, Dad? Do you? Maybe Silas is right. I think we need to take you to a doctor because he bit me last
oh my
night.
God.
And human bites are the worst. They always get infected.
Well, Silas is a doctor. Help him out.
Look at your neck.
Yeah, I
boy.
pull
You look
down
and
my.
you see nothing there.
I thought you and your wife were having a separation. I don't need to see those, really.
You all examine Silas. You look as well. You see no mark of any wound on yourself, on your brother, even though he claims what was to be happen last night. And then you're fine.
Dorian, come here. And Silas is going to check Dorian's pulse.
You feel nothing. There
You-
is no pulse.
You don't have a pulse, Dorian. Just.
Okay, well maybe you're not that good of a doctor. Are you sure?
Oh, I am positive. That's the
Got
first
him.
thing you learn.
You check your siblings as well, Silas, and the same. They do not have a pulse.
Okay, we're dead.
maybe-
We gotta be in hell. This is hell. Like, this is my hell.
This is hell?
This is hell. This is hell.
Really?
No.
Yes,
Die?
100%.
I thought hell was having no money. Okay.
If Jacques is here, it's
can't be
definitely
dead.
hell.
We can't be.
This
We're too
is
young.
not. This is only the beginning.
Oh my
You
god,
see-
this is the worst.
This world is filled with things, creatures, the things that you've heard about in folkloric tales.
Hold on.
Hold up.
Don't tell me that there's monsters and magic, because I'm gonna walk out of that fucking door and never look back.
I told you he was on the conspiracy side of the
This wouldn't be the
internet.
first time you've done that, Silas.
I told you, Sai, the children are hungry.
I think
Maybe we
it's
should
time.
have one of the servants make a meal, hmm?
I think it is time. There is no easy way to do this, my children. And as Jacques says that and your father says that, entering the room are 5 blood dolls. And that is a term that you all don't know what that is, but it
No?
is essentially people who willingly will give their blood. And they walk in, one of them, a younger man, 2 women. It's 2 men and 2 women of varying ages. And they walk in, or sorry, there's 5 of them. One of them walks up to your father,
Oh.
and your father says, "It's time to have your first meal, my children. Jacques, make sure that none of this gets messy."
Of course.
And you see your father take one of these blood dolls and drink from them, just like Dorian you saw yesterday. And then he hands them over to your mother, who does the same.
Stop! Stop! What are you
Yeah,
doing?
what are you doing, Dad? Mom, what the?
Silas, as you go to move or like get out of your chair or help somebody, which I'm guessing is your first instinct,
Yes.
you feel Jacques suddenly behind you, his long fingernailed hands that you've always thought were creepy, they just
are.
press into your shoulders and he pins you down into your chair looking straight forward. Like he's giving you a back rub, and you try to stand up and you don't know the leverage, but you feel like
Let me go. This is so
sit
messed up.
and watch, boy.
No.
Oh God.
I have a question. It's a man, right? You said that they're feeding him?
They are feeding on a man, yes.
Okay, cool. Noted.
Hot.
No reason.
And
no reason.
Is this
as this happens, you all are fresh fledglings, and
Baby.
it is, as these blood dolls walk closer to you, you smell it. You smell their fresh blood coursing through their veins, and it you don't know how or why that sensation suddenly takes over, but it smells so good, and you just want to take a bite. And you all are going to have to roll me hunger frenzies, because this is your first night and you are about to go frenzy. All right, baby.
Is this a resist frenzy?
This is a resist frenzy, and last time we tried to use this, it didn't work. So everybody just try to roll.
Right, someone tell me how to do that.
Oh,
See, it
I-
says
oh, right
failed,
there.
but
I
the
failed.
dice. You did
Oh.
roll. See,
yeah, I rolled.
You rolled good on your dice. Oh my god, you have so many. Your dice pool's huge, Dorian, for this. So it'll say resist frenzy failed, but that doesn't mean you failed.
Okay, I got 3
Um,
success. So I actually
One
didn't.
moment.
I have 1,
Oh.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 success. Yeah.
5 successes as well for me with
Oh,
one
6. I'm sorry.
critical?
Same. Yeah.
It looks like Willow had a critical.
Yeah.
As did Dorian, yes.
Oh my god, look at us.
Silas had 2 successes. Okay. And Val had 3. Okay. Silas.
Oh god.
It's
Brother.
It's hard for you in this moment. That feeling, that beast, it begins to become louder and louder inside of you, and it whispers in your ear almost to take a bite. You so badly want to have that taste, and you go to take a bite from this person. And you do feed off of them, but it would be messy, but your dear uncle is holding you down.
Aw, like a bib.
And you all watch your brother, Silas, drink from this blood dog.
Would it be like from a wrist or a neck, or how do blood dolls usually get fed on?
You probably would grab their wrist. The first thing you see, you grab the wrist and begin to feed, and you watch him drain from this man or woman. What would you prefer, Silas?
Let's do a man.
Okay, from this man.
Fuck it.
And he continues to go, and the man seems like he enjoys it. It's like very unsettling for all of you.
Made more unsettling by Jacques caressing Silas's hair. That's right. That's right. Drink.
My nephew. My nephew.
And you want to continue.
You smell so fucking bad.
But
Stop. You're killing me.
Jacques, you know that if he feeds too much, it could get messier. So you hold him back. I'm not going to have you roll for it because you are pretty strong.
I'm as he's going at some point, as I was caressing his hair, I just grab his hair and pull back, sort of like pulling his head back, pulling the fangs out. As he releases, you would probably see, the rest of you see his fangs dripping with blood as I remove the person's wrists from his mouth.
Oh.
And you do.
Teeth.
Oh my god.
You all have them too, children, and you must do the same. Go ahead. And the 3 other blood dolls stand right in front of you with their wrists out. Do it now, children.
I don't want to. I don't want to drink blood, Dad. That's... What?
I would like to try to walk out. Like, I would like to stand up and try to walk out.
Oh, there she go.
All right.
Or like kind of run out.
She
one
running.
moment.
She a runner, she a track
I should
star.
have got these disciplines ready.
Oh
One
no,
moment,
oh no, oh
everybody.
god, I'm scared. She's getting the disciplines ready.
If you
She
resist,
a runner, she a track star.
I'm
one
afraid.
moment.
Yeah, she's like, no comment, like, maybe feels sick, is gonna be sick. Can vampires get sick?
I could
don't
race
know.
her to the door.
Yes.
Oh,
you
here
grab
comes
her.
Uncle
Oh, not
Jack!
Uncle Jack!
Stinky boy.
And I
Little
want
rat man.
you, Val, your mother gets up and looks at you.
Mommy.
And she looks you in the eyes and she says, "Why don't you have a drink, Valerie?" And I want you to roll an intelligence resolve.
Okay, I am rolling that intelligence resolve. For the record, it did not let me roll when I didn't put a difficulty level. So what do you guys put? Like it went through when I
I
put
put
0.
0. Yeah.
I just
Yes, that should be fine.
my resolve sucks. But
One
What
moment.
Oh,
I'm actually gonna use
Just
one of
2
my
successes,
dice.
right?
well,
Yeah, but it's versus
Versus zero,
Mumthers. Yeah.
Mumther.
Versus her manipulation dominate.
she's
One
probably got a
moment.
few more dice than I do. I have, for chat's
Mumther.
reference, I have 1 resolve dice and 2 intelligence, so I only get 3.
Oh boy.
Those are some of my lower stats.
She's pretty. She's pretty, all right?
I
Yeah.
am pretty.
Val, you feel in this moment as your mother looks into your eyes.
Oh, mother says no.
You remember a time when you got home from school as a child
Oh,
and you went out with a boy. Or actually, you went out with a girl.
yeah, you did.
And the two of you, well, you got
Uh-oh.
quite involved and were caught. And your mother, you came home and she looked at you that night, and the fear that you had for how she was going to handle things, it really was the first time you felt fear and anxiety. And it almost felt unnatural when she disciplined you. She told you you needed to go to your room and not leave for the rest of the evening. And you felt like you needed to, and you went. And you're feeling that feeling again, of that feeling of you need to do what your mother says, or you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And as she says, "Why don't you take a drink, Valerie?" you feel compelled to do so. And you are mesmerized to do so.
Okay, if that is the case, knowing Val's tendencies, I suppose I would pick whoever the prettiest blood bag is. What are they called? Blood doll.
Yes, you do. Head over to one of them. And do you grab their wrist like your brother did, or do you try for their neck?
If I think they're pretty, I'll probably go for the neck.
And you do. And you all watch your sister do the same thing as Silas. Take a drink from this woman. And one thing that happens after, your mother says, "Now you need to make sure the wound closes." And she teaches you that you have to lick the wound to close it. And
Oh, mommy.
Jacques does the same thing for you, Silas. Teaches you how to close the wound after you take a bite.
Now lick it clean. Lick it. Go on. Yeah, that's right.
Not the demonstration.
Willow, after watching your two siblings do this, what do you do?
I don't know. She's probably looking around a little scared, looking to Dorian because he's the only other person who hasn't yet, and just, I don't know. I don't know where you're sat in the room, but just looking at you very intensely, like a, you gonna do it? Kind of like.
Well, having seen our other 2 siblings feed and our parents feed, I'm sure the scent of blood in the air and the hunger that I feel since waking up, as much as I want to fight it and deny it, as much as it seems unnatural, there is something that feels right about the idea of needing to feed. And seeing Dad tell us, you need to do this, I think as you look at me with these questioning eyes, I would find some resolve in myself and realize something is going on here and that I'm a part of it. I would go up to the blood doll near me, and I would grab their wrist and look at my father and kind of stare him in the eyes as I plunge my fangs into her wrist.
And you do. And once again, similar, you feel like you want to continue and drink more. That compulsion just, it comes over you that you want to, but you do resist. You take a drink, and for all of you, it does taste good. It is a sweet taste that you do enjoy. Despite your brain wanting to tell you otherwise, all of this begins to feel a little more natural, like you're meant to do this. As the fangs protrude, as you take the bite, and Dorian, you as well, you back away and you follow what just happened, you lick that wound closed. It begins to feel a little bit more natural, like you were meant to do this.
I'm still hungry, though.
You will never not be hungry. That's unfortunately one of the burdens. Now, my sweet Willow, you're the only one left.
I walk over a handsome blood doll to Willow. Here you go.
Her eyes are big and watering a bit. Can I have a teacup? Dad?
It's best for the first time if you go directly for the vein.
I
You can
want a
choose
teacup.
the wrist,
No.
the neck,
No.
or perhaps the inner thigh.
No. No. I want a teacup.
My child, please, do what Uncle Jacques says. As your
gross.
As your eyes well up, Willow,
Yeah.
you feel tears beginning to well in your eyes. And as you look and go to your eyes, you see it's blood.
Oh God! Fuck! No! Nasty. I still want a little teacup.
Dorian looks at Willow. It's okay.
Okay.
All eyes are on you, Willow, in
No!
this room.
I hate this. It probably takes like a little handkerchief out of her purse. Wipes their wrist down. Okay, I don't know where this person's been. It's disgusting. And then just kind of brings it up to her mouth and looks around like, well, you don't have to watch.
They continue to watch
She
in this
turns
moment
around.
to make sure that it doesn't get messy.
I'm scared. And she just kind of does a little nom. Like she's not sure if she has little fangs yet or not.
And you do protrude fangs, and each of you have unique fangs, which we will have to look that up later and describe all the different fangs, because each clan kind of has different fangs, and I forget who gets what. But you do protrude.
Ooh, we got a little tarot card reading.
Oh, nice!
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Justice. Fitting for you, Dorian.
I need help.
And so you do protrude your fangs, and once again, it feels natural when you do it. Like it's instinctual. Like it's such a weird concept in your brain, but then once you do it, it happens and it feels okay.
May I rip the wrist open?
Yes.
Thank you.
And it does get a little messy for you. You as well, Silas. It was messy for you as well. You notice there's blood on your lab coat, your jacket, or your medical coat, I should say, which isn't generally out of the ordinary, but this time it's different because of how it happened.
I stop Willow from killing her by pulling her back by her bangs. Ah! Enough!
Not the bangs.
The bangs. Uncle, please.
And the four of you feel at least a little bit satiated. Your hunger would be at 1. It doesn't ever go to 0 unless you kill somebody.
Oh,
But-
I almost had it.
As you all take a moment and process what just happened, your father begins to speak again. Your first feed. Welcome to the life of a vampire, my children, because that's what all of you are. What you hear about in the stories, in the books, in the movies, yes, that is exactly what you are. As a matter of fact, all of us are. Myself, your mother, your uncle. We are all vampires. And we live in the night, along with many other vampires in this city. And you all will live among them as well. And all the people that you knew in your life, they are nothing to you now. It is only the 4 of you and the 3 of us now. These are the only people you will know and care about for the rest of your unlives. You will live very long and prosperous lives. You will live life beyond any human you've ever known. You will live for years and years to come in this family.
How should post-feeding, how should we feel?
You feel somewhat better. You feel satiated. The hunger is still there, but it's not writhing and it's not swelling up inside of you the way it once was. You feel a little bit calmer, but you still mentally don't feel right. Things still feel wrong and feel strange to you. And it's hard to take in what your father is saying right now.
Yeah, I think at that point, as father is telling us all this, you will live longer than any human, and it's just us people in this room. I think Silas, after coming to his senses after what just happened, I think he'd get angry again after just the selfishness of what he's saying. And I think Silas would just be like, he would start laughing and be like, "What did you do, Dad? If you wanted me, that's fine. Dorian has kids. Your grandchildren are now without a father. Val, your dreams of the Paris runway are gone. Gone. That cover of Vogue, burnt. Willow, your art days are over. You'll never see the Louvre. You'll never see anything ever again. And this motherfucker took it all away from us. Dorian, your kids are dead. They're gone. Did he ask?
What do you mean? My kids are fine.
It's
Stop.
actually quite the opposite, Silas. You think you know so much already, but of course you don't. You never did.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
You already think you have this figured out, Silas. Just like your clan. Now,
Hold
Hold on.
why don't
Just
you...
calm down, Silas.
Yeah, I was going to
Let's
say, I almost
hear
want
what
to
he
make
has
you
to say.
roll a Fury Frenzy, but you're not quite there yet. So you
Ooh.
are... It is boiling up, but you're not
Big
quite
brother
there.
upset.
Dorian tells you to calm down and listen, and as your father continues to speak, he says, "No, I brought you into this life, in this world, this unlife, because I love you, And I want you to be part of this family. Now,
Never said that.
this is actually something
Mom?
that your children, Dorian, will one day get to experience as well. Because this is a family business. And they will be part of this family as well. You see, let me continue. Our family, the Lysander family, for many, many generations have been vampires. Your uncle, he's not actually your uncle.
Oh, thank God.
He's much older than your uncle, though he is a relative.
What?
See, our family lineage goes back many, many years to many powerful vampires. Centuries upon centuries. And many, many hundreds of years ago, our family made a deal that welcomed us into Chicago. And in exchange for that, our bloodline, our family bloodline, would continue this and shepherd in new vampires into our family. For your bloodline actually goes back to a very ancient and powerful vampire. And that's why you all get brought into this life. Not every one of the Lysander family does. Only those who seem gifted, who seem capable. Unfortunately, your brother Alan didn't quite make the cut.
What happens to Alan then?
He
Oh, he's
lives
still
a
in-
long, normal life. One day you'll go to his funeral at dusk.
You really are repulsive, you know that?
After 300 years, we all get a little repulsive.
What was wrong with Alan? Why is he not a part of this?
Oh, you know Alan. Your baby brother, he didn't quite have the talents that all of you had. You see, Willow, your art, your brilliant mind. Val, your beauty and grace. Dorian, your skill in our family business. And Silas, of course, your skill in the medical field. You all have certain talents that brought you to what we call different clans within our vampire society. Which, by the way, we don't use that term, and I cringe every time I have to say it, but I have to say it now so you at least understand what you are, but I think we've gotten past that point. You all are kindred, is what we call each other. And they are Kine, as he points to the blood dolls.
But Dad, Alan is just a kid. I mean, he's studying abroad. I mean, when I was his age, I was an idiot. I was
And what does
doing
he
drugs. I
have?
protested against the family business. I mean,
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
Don't you see? This is better for him.
That's
Val's right.
very right for your clan to say something like that, Val. I knew that I picked the right people to bring you all into this life. You see, I handpicked your sires, the people who turned you into this. Except you, my son. And he looks at Dorian. You join my clan. Now, there is a lot that we have to learn and discuss tonight about what you are, about who you are, about this life that you've been brought into. There are a lot of things you need to learn, so you will be here for quite a few nights as you learn it. Because there is a lot that you have to understand. It's a lot for young ones like yourself to take in, and I understand that. It's always a lot. Eventually, you'll understand, and you'll understand why I did this.
I'm gonna be here. I have to call Adeline. I have to.
It will be taken care
her know.
of for all of you. You will be calling out sick. You will be indisposed for some time. I will handle it. My retainers will. And you will be staying at this house for the next 3 to 4 weeks as we learn more, and you all... There will be some nasty side effects to the embrace that will take some time for you to get used to. So you'll be staying here.
They make it sound so pretty. Kindred, embrace.
It is in some ways, son, and you will learn that. as
There's
you learn
many
more.
beautiful terms, aren't there?
Not for you.
Hmm.
Will we?
Watch your tongue, boy.
Will we ever see the sun again?
Not unless you want to meet your final death, which none of my children will. So
Well,
no.
let's not make assumptions. Just like your real Uncle Jacques, there are those of us in the family who flunk out after their embrace.
Real? What?
Unfortunately, Uncle Jacques was not one of them. You see, there are certain traditions that we must uphold, and if you decide to go against those traditions, you also will meet your death. You will have to face the sun, and that will be your end. The things that you've heard about vampires in whatever movies you all have watched or books you've read, some of it is true, some of it is not. It's made up for the sake of throwing people off, I suppose. But a few things are true. You do need to feed from kine, from mortals.
Oh,
You do need to make sure you keep that in check. You cannot go out in the daylight. You
can
cannot
I not
go...
eat garlic anymore? I put it in like everything.
Oh my god.
That is one of those, my son, that is more of a myth than it is a fact. You can enjoy some of the pleasures of your life, but it does require you to rouse your blood in order to do so. So yes, you can enjoy a meal every once in a while or a drink. You can't enjoy it right now or you will not feel well.
So regular food is gone.
No more boba.
No more Italian beefs. No more hot dogs. No more deep dish pizza.
I told you they weren't ready, Sai.
He nods at Jacques. It takes time for all of us, Jacques. They will soon come to terms with what has happened. Now,
Or they won't. And perhaps Alan will
about-
get a chance to be added to the flock.
I have a question. How long have you two been like this? And he points to mom and dad.
your mother, who has been very, very quiet this whole
She
time.
has.
She
That's
has.
mommy.
And she looks at you all with her piercing red eyes, and she... Well, for us, it hasn't been that long, actually. Perhaps 20 years or so. Your uncle, though, he's been here much, much longer. Oh, century, maybe? He's the strongest of all of us, believe it or not.
And yet, Dad is in charge, it seems.
My father's in charge of raising all of you, but he had my blessing to make you kindred.
Yes. Now, there are many things you still need to learn. You must learn about what you can and cannot do, what you should and shouldn't do, and you must learn more about our family business within what we call the Camarilla. So why don't you all have a seat? And with that, as he says that, we will take a break, as your father is about to give you all a nice little lesson on kindred society, and you all get to enjoy and sit down. You had a nice meal, and you get to learn. Vampire
Yay.
School time.
Vampire school.
All
Vampire
right.
school.
You know, he was going to take you to a professor at the University of Chicago, but he's decided he's going to do it himself. So,
Aw, Daddy.
Oh
What
boy.
a hands-on father.
The most time
Wow.
we spent with Dad in like
Yeah.
10
Said
years.
who
For once in
ever.
his life, he's hands-on.
with that, we'll be back in a couple of 10 minutes or so. Go grab a drink. Go
get your
yourself ready.
snack.
Get your
We're just-
notebooks ready for Vampire School, everybody.
We're just
got
getting
it.
started.
Ready.
we are just
Ready.
getting started.
See you
so
in vampire class.
We'll be back.
Blood.
Welcome back, everybody, to Ancestral Blood. So before we continue in the second half of our episode, I wanted to call out the art that we have, as we've displayed some beautiful kindred art for all of our players and as well as the parents. So I first want to call out the artist who did the children. Her name is Giovanna, not to be confused with Clan Giovanni. So that you her Instagram there. She did all of the headshots for our lovely kindred. So if you want to check her out, that's her Instagram. She's very super quick turnaround. Like, we got this art done in a week and a half, which is amazing. Like, she was so fast with it. And so super huge shout out to her getting the art. And she also just captured all of their kind of clan essence. I feel really good. Like, I actually posted it to the VTM Reddit and I was like, guess everybody's clans. And some people were
Oh my God.
not guessing accurate. Like, everybody knew.
Some people were
Silas,
spot on though.
Yeah. No, it was
Silas was Tremere all the way through.
Silas looks like a Tremere, but some people were saying Dorian was Lysander,
yeah.
Or even a caitiff. And they were actually mixing up the Malkavian and the Toreador a little bit, which was kind of interesting. So yeah, it was just kind of cool to see all of the characters. And of course, the parentals, the parent art, was done by none other than Momo, momobee. So Momo did the
did our
amazing-
hot parents.
Yes, hot parent headshot. So you can check out her art
The
there.
shadow on his face is so good.
I know,
So
it really
good.
is. He's got-
Them cheekbones, you know.
Yeah.
Look, we all in our art we all have killer cheekbones. I was like, well, mom and dad gotta have good cheekbones then.
And then, last but not least, our lovely Nosferatu was done by none other than Hannah Katz, who has done many other art pieces for us in our campaigns. Hannah did an amazing job capturing Jacques in his Nosferatu form. So, absolutely awesome. Thank you, Hannah.
Grotesque.
Thank you, Momo. Thank you, Giovanna. Thank you all for getting us art for our VTM game so we can enjoy the character art and get a better visual.
Thank you for donating so we can get cool character
Yes, thank
art
you as
for
well.
all of our
Everybody.
shows, because you guys
Yes.
pay for it and we appreciate you.
Yes, it is. We really do appreciate it. All the support we received. The raid that we got earlier, thank you so much. Thanks to everybody who's been in chat and enjoying the story thus far. I promise I will read everybody's comments later. I haven't been able to. So thank you so much, everybody. We really appreciate you being here. So, the four of you are continuing your dinner time with your father. And he tells you that there's a lot of things you need to learn about this new life, unlife, that you've been brought into. And he speaks on something, my children. There is all of the kindred within Chicago. We all are connected in a way where we know each other. We know of our at least we try to know of all of them. Specifically, there is many things that are at play within our society. It's kind of like a business in some ways, Dorian. We are all involved in something called the Camarilla. And the city of Chicago is under control of this Camarilla. It is like an order to make sure that things are kept in check for us kindred in the city and make sure that the masquerade is upheld. The masquerade is something that you all need to understand. They are core traditions that you must follow and make sure that you don't meet your untimely final death.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you keep to these things, my children, you will be quite successful in this life. You all have a purpose. You all were brought in for different reasons. But let me take you through these core traditions that you must follow. First of all, you do not reveal your true name, who you are. What you just did, the feeding, the vampirism, no one must know what you are. It doesn't matter how close you are, how much you love them. Nobody outside of this room and other kindred that you will meet must know what you are. That includes significant others. Dorian, that does include your wife and your children.
I mean, my children are too young, but my wife? I tell her everything. Are you saying
She
that
must not know what you are.
How am I going to explain that I can only see her at night, that I'm sleeping during the day?
That is
How
a
am I going
topic
to...
we will discuss later, son, on
So
what you are to do. As a matter of fact, all of you should probably start thinking about what you want to say to the people that you are most close with. Generally, I suggest that you make it swift and quick. You cut off contact. It's best not to keep those people in your lives, because it can only get messy.
But then how are we supposed to have any? How did you and Mom meet then? Daddy,
Your
I have a boyfriend. I can't leave him. I love him.
Oh, my sweet willow tree. You're going to have to let him go.
Can't you just make him one like, like someone
No,
like...
my child. None of the people you love can become this, except Dorian's children one day.
Not fair.
We have a
Dorian!
Why not my wife? Mom is a kindred.
She
Why-
wasn't exceptional enough. I told you you could have done better.
Says you.
You don't have a wife.
She's exceptional to me.
Oh, my camera. 1 second.
I'm sorry, son, but she just quite isn't there. She's just not that
Your wife is
special.
mid.
I know you love her, but she's really not that special. Your children, however, they are quite promising. Now, I will continue with the rest of the traditions that you must follow. Next, your domain is your own concern, our domain. You may only feed. What you just did, you will need to feed regularly, and you may only feed within my domain. You see, kindred are very particular about what land in Chicago they own, what parts of Chicago they own. It is very important to keep to this area when you're feeding. If you go and wander off to, I don't know, Northerly Island, for say, do not go there. It's, the gangrel there I'll have your head. But you do not go and feed, no matter how hungry you are, no matter how much that compulsion comes in. You do not feed anywhere except on the Gold Coast. However, you may also feed within the Chicago Loop, because I do have good relations with the Ventrue that own that area. Sorry, that's another term that you will
The
have
what?
to come with. Yes. We will get into that next.
Okay.
So remember, my children, only feed on the Gold Coast or in the Loop.
Are you going to be bringing us blood dolls to feed on? I mean, are we...
For a few nights, you will be feeding from my supply, but eventually, I will not be taking care of you. Your mother, she says, I can help. I will take you all out in a few nights from now, and we'll make sure that you all are properly equipped. Next, you all may only sire. You may only turn others into vampires with the permission of an elder, with the permission of Jacques and the prince. Now,
Jacques is an elder.
he is.
What?
And you will treat him with respect. And if you do anything to scorn Jacques, it will be your head removed from your body, dusted in the ground. Because that's what happens when somebody takes your head from your body. You turn to dust, and you're gone completely. Now, what we do call what just happened to all of you siring. And you may not turn anybody else into one of us. We have very strict laws on this, within Chicago especially. We don't want to bring more of these, of us, into Chicago, truly. I have very special permission to bring you all from the prince and Jacques. But you
Prince?
all may not. Yes, we will get into that in a moment. Let me continue.
You can move on to the next part. None of us are going to turn more people.
Just making sure you all understand the grave situation we have in front of us. Next, those that do create are responsible for their own, and I am responsible for all of you. Your sins are mine to endure as well, so if any of you do anything against what I am telling you, it will be my head as well.
Oh my god, don't tell Silas that.
You see his smile?
Silas like, I'm about to start trouble.
Now, generally, the person who turns you is the one that takes care of you in these nights. I had very specific people turn some of you, and I will get into the reasons why in a moment. But I do have permission to raise you all as my children, as my childs. So, I am responsible for you all, and we will make sure that you all are properly equipped for the future. Next, if you are to ever leave Chicago, which none of you should, if you are to enter another city, you must present yourself to that city. Much like Chicago, the other major cities, New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, they all have similar traditions and vampires, kindred, that run the cities in different means than ours, but it is still important to keep account of those that are within the city. So you can't just go ahead and take a trip to New York without presenting yourself. And last but not least, you are forbidden to kill any other kindred. Do not even try. As a matter of fact, you would probably fail miserably unless you tried to kill each other. Failure to uphold these, you will meet your final death. You will never be able to experience the things you would in this unlife. You will see the sun, or you will be thrown in a fire. As fire, too, is something you do not want to be around, my children. Now, I've mentioned that you were all sired by different individuals, because within our kindred society, we have what are called clans, different, I don't want to say the word sect, but different organizations and different gifts that you all have. And you will soon discover the gifts that you have, and they are very specific to your clan. Uncle Jacques here is what is called a Nosferatu. Yes.
Like the movie.
That is where it comes from, yes. His clan is very gifted in many ways. Though his face may not be of what most people would find pleasant, his clan is good at acquiring information. they keep a low profile. They keep to the sewers and things below. And they know more secrets about this city than most anybody else. Dorian, my son, I am your sire, you are my child, and we are from a clan called Ventrue, the clan of kings. We are all about lineage, and you are my prodigy.
What are
If
you
we're up
laughing
to-
at, Silas?
Just Dorian a king. I'm sorry. Go on, Dad.
Your blood, for all intents and purposes, is blue. It's not actually, but we do call ourselves blue bloods. We have a divine right to rule.
Not fair.
If it were up to me, truly all of my children would be Ventrue, but that is simply not so. You all are gifted in other means. Valerie, you are of a clan called Toreador. Beautiful artists. You see beauty in everything. And you are gifted with that beauty. But it's more than just the skin deep. You see things in a different light than most do. Similar to your sister, Willow. You are of a clan called Malkavian. Because it's true. You see the world and have intuition that many others don't see. For many years, there was maybe a stigma about Malkavians, but your perception of the world is very valuable.
But I don't get to be a king like Dorian.
Not everybody can, but everybody has a purpose. And you all have unique purposes. And Silas, you were sired to a clan called the Tremere. The Tremere are a steadfast pillar within the Camarilla. They have had a rough history, but they are respected and feared in their own right. You have many things to know of knowledge. You will one day meet other Tremere, and you will learn with them many secrets of kindred society. Because you all technically weren't even kindred to start. You were mages. Magic does exist in this world, but you're able to use your blood to have that sort of magical ability. And it's your brain that allows you, your smart wits and your intellect that will allow you to excel. All of you will soon learn that you have gift. This life that you're in now comes with many curses, but also many blessings. And in time, you will learn to use those gifts that you have to help yourselves excel, to help yourselves navigate the society that you're in. I will have you all meet other people of your clan in time, so you can better understand what these gifts are. For now, I think it's best we start with the other things within the city that you need to understand. This Camarilla that I've spoken of. We all answer to somebody, unfortunately. Myself included.
Dad, what about Mom?
Oh, yes, your mother. She and I are of the same clan. I brought her into this world as well. She is a Ventrue. The Prince of Chicago is somebody who is the head honcho, as some would say, of this city. He too is a Ventrue. And
Oh.
he has done a great job maintaining order and structure. And we all must make sure we uphold to these tenets and make sure that we are obeying what the prince has for us within Chicago. But I am actually on good terms with Prince Jackson. So, there's not much that you all will have to worry about as long as you behave. Occasionally, we all meet in what is called an Elysium, where we are all brought kind of a meeting of sorts, like a business meeting, an executive board meeting. And we learn about what we need to know within the society, within the Camarilla. If new things come to light, we all discuss amongst each other. The prince will go through things that we need to know and learn. And there are many other clans within the city that you may or may not meet. There are also people who don't, there are also kindred who don't follow within our order. Some who like to defect. Truly, the Camarilla law is the only way to really go within kindred society, but some people think that they're better than that. They
And we will not have defectors in this household.
No, of course not.
How long has Jacques been the head of the household?
Head of the household. 120 years since my grandfather died.
So are you guys actually brothers? Or is it just like an unspoken thing?
I've been around so long, it's important to keep up appearances, to explain to tax officials and nosy papers why I'm here. So when your dear Uncle Jacques died, I took his place.
Who are you actually? Are you like our great-great-great-great-grandfather?
Something like that. I've lost count over the years.
What's your real name?
It's Jacques. We like to sprinkle it into the family every once in a while in case I need to update my credentials. I'm gonna be telling Alan to name one of his kids Jacques, just in case.
Oh.
Now, again, the things that I am telling you all, it is a lot to take in. You will understand more in time. But these are the important things to know for now. Question, Valerie?
Hey, Dad, you said everybody has a purpose? What the fuck is my purpose if I can't see the sun or anything? I can't create art or I can't see anyone that I love. What kind of purpose is that?
You are a Lysander, Valerie. That is your purpose. You keep this family and you keep our traditions upheld.
So we eat, keep secrets, and repeat?
There's a
Lord.
beauty in that, Val.
What did you call it? Cattle?
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
The
a
life you
way.
used to live.
They are like cattle. And it's true, some of you may see them more as people, but you'll soon begin to know and understand that you are a predator and they are prey.
We used to
They
be
are.
that prey.
They are people, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what-
Silas, we We were just them hours ago.
You were never them. You were always Lysander. This was your destiny for over 200 years. Just as it was my destiny and your father's. And your children's, Dorian. It's their destiny too. There's a reason why I gave them permission to turn you all now. I want to make sure we had some new blood on the way.
And what if I don't want them to have the same fate?
You'll change your mind in due time, just like your father and mother did.
Do you remember when I was like this, Jacques? All the questions and rebellion. Oh,
Is this
it's
why you were
painful.
never at any of our recitals, soccer games?
You missed all my shows.
Dad?
I was at some of them when they were in the evening.
Probably far in the back, not making an appearance as usual.
Oh, this is the most painful part of it all. These first nights. He looks to his wife. I cannot wait for this to be done.
Look at the bright side. We can all be a real family now. This is the first dinner I've actually had with you, truly.
He says this as he bites into one of the blood doll's wrist himself.
Yes. Yes. You know, it will take some time for you all to understand what types of food you do like. Thankfully, none of these were revolting to you, but there will be some time for you to understand what prey you do like, who you like to feed off of. You all have a type, just like your preferences and partners. You all have a type on what you will like to feed. And as a matter of fact, there will be things that you don't like, things that make you revolt, things that make your beast recoil. All in due time, my children, all in due time. I feel like that was quite a bit, and you all look a little shell-shocked, to say the least. It's good that you don't actually have real blood circulating, just vitae, because you all look like you've seen a ghost. Hopefully there are none here, as there are ghosts that exist in this world, but that's another night for another discussion. Do you have any immediate questions for me?
It is a lot, Dorian. Why are Mom's eyes red? Remember, elephant in the room. Why does she look so sickly?
We all have things that make us change in this unlife, my son. The red eyes were part of it for me.
Oh.
I didn't always look this sickly. Part of the Nosferatu condition, I'm afraid.
Oh.
I'm glad I'm not a Nosferatu then.
Yeah.
It has its perks.
Have you been, not vampires, kindred, right? Have you been like that our whole lives? Like ever since we've been born?
Not since you were born. Because, well, if that was the case, you wouldn't be here. Because none of you can have children.
What?
Though it did happen not long after.
After Alan was born?
Yes.
Fucking Alan.
You're pinning a lot on the hopes of my kids then, huh? I'm the only one of us that have children.
It's
The only one that
unfortunate.
you know of who has children, yes.
What?
Don't worry
does that
about
mean?
it. I've been keeping tabs on all of you. Any extra marital affairs, any one-offs. I've been keeping track.
She's looking at Silas.
We also have a second bloodline out there. But hopefully we won't need to dip into that. And you'll do right by your children, Dorian.
Are we
Does it
supposed to
hurt?
date people? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh,
You
no, I
go.
need to hear your question.
Oh, how I was about to. She was just gonna say, if that's the case, then we can't date people. I just have to be alone for the rest of my life.
You don't have to be alone. There are people you can bring close to you. Just don't break the rules of the Camarilla.
He looks over, your father looks over at the other one who's been in the room, who's been rather quiet in the corner.
Fucking Laura.
Fucking
Laura.
Laura.
Fucking Laura. That
We've been
harlot.
ignoring her on purpose.
That fucking whore.
I want you all to roll a wits insight, actually.
Momo, you know what I smell?
I smell skanks.
Roll
I'm
me-
sorry,
what are we
what-
rolling?
What are we rolling? I'm
Wits
sorry.
insight.
I'm
now.
sorry.
So you'll want to go to the insight and click that first under the skills, and then it'll have you pull up the attribute wits. So click insight, and then the drop down, go to wits.
Zero pool size modifier.
Yes.
Difficulty?
Don't worry about the difficulty.
I have a
We'll just-
question. Insight's
Yes.
not like a social skill, right? Technically? I don't think it applies for this.
No, it will not apply for this.
Okay. Insight. Wits. Insight.
Oh wait, I didn't
insight.
do well. Fuck me. Oh.
2 successes for Dorian.
I got only one success.
Oh god, only one for me too.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, y'all didn't roll that great.
Look at that.
Fucking Laura.
But with 2 successes, I will say, Dorian, as you have been sensing the people in this room and the smell of blood, you smell it on Lara as well, which leads you to believe she's not a kindred. But she's been around for a long time too. It's just something you noticed.
I would bring it up. So if we are not to tell anybody, if we are to keep up this pretense, what's going on with Laura? I can smell it. I can smell the blood on her. I know she's not one of us. She's not kindred. So she knows who we are, what we are. That's okay.
She does. And you're right. Very astute, my son. I knew you would be the one to notice. She is not kindred, but she is mine. She is a ghoul, as they call them. She is loyal to me. I give her my blood. And she, in turn, gets a little bit of my power. But she doesn't become like us. But as long as she keeps feeding, she keeps getting special gifts from me. And I keep her around, and she is loyal. She does not breach our masquerade.
And Mom, you're okay with this?
Yeah, why is she?
You're okay with her feeding from Dad?
This is like cheating.
Your mother laughs at that. Oh, my child, it's not what you think it is. She Laura has been loyal to this family for many, many years. And we see her almost as family. She is able to help us in the daylight when we need her. She finds out things and tells us things that help us. She brings us things that we need. She is very, very helpful.
Well, can I have one too? I want someone like Laura.
In time, once you prove yourself reliable and trustworthy to this family, one does not go about making ghouls on a whim, lest we would taint our food supply and breach the masquerade.
Everything I do is on a whim.
Can you not drink from ghouls?
You can, yes. If I wanted to, I could. But it's more I let her drink from me.
Can kindred starve to death?
In a manner of speaking, yes. That is another thing I should probably tell you all. You need to make sure that you feed. Because every night you will wake up and you may or may not feel a little bit hungrier. And that beast inside of you, it is in a cage and it will rattle if you do not feed it. And if you ignore that, you will continue to get hungrier and hungrier till a point where you won't be able to control it. And you may just feed on that compulsion, or even worse, you will go into shock. What we call torpor. You will be essentially unconscious.
Val looks kind of resigned at this point, and she'll ask one more question. Does it hurt them if we fix it? Like, heal it?
It may, and he looks to Silas, it may make them feel temporarily uneasy, lightheaded, the usual symptoms of blood loss. But when you do it, it actually feels rather good to the kine. Almost like an ecstasy that they feel. That's why these here enjoy it so much. It's almost a strange pleasure that they feel when it happens. But thankfully, when you do feed, you don't have to worry about them necessarily remembering. When you lick the wound closed, they may be in a woozy state for a moment, a bit of a temporary amnesia, perhaps having too much of a fun night, and they will go about their lives as if nothing happened. It's only if you kill them that it gets messy, because then we have what I like to call with Jacques an oopsie daisy. You don't want to know what happens when an oopsie daisy happens.
A oopsie daisy?
I've had quite a few in my time, but when you're younger, you want to make sure these things don't happen.
What happens if you have an oopsie daisy, Mr. Jacques?
You drain a victim for all the blood they have, and you have on you a corpse.
Okay.
There's no easier way to break the first rule of the Camarilla than to leave bodies lying around.
What if you don't leave it lying around?
No, you think you can clean up after yourself.
It's just one body.
In the world of DNA testing, forensics, the surveillance state. Don't be so foolish.
Now, it's true. If bodies start disappearing, people ask questions. Specifically, people that hunt those like us. Hunters do exist as well, my children. There are people out there that unfortunately know we exist, and they want us dead. We call them the Second Inquisition. They do exist in Chicago. They exist in just about every city within the US. And if you keep making things messy, the Inquisition will find you, or we will find you and make sure that doesn't happen before. Oh, and one last thing. Give me all of your phones.
Why? Why?
You're
I
done
get
with your phones.
Work emails, text messages.
No, ho. You won't be using your phones anymore.
What?
How am I supposed to work? I still have my duties.
We have
At
people
work.
for that, Dorian. You won't have to worry about it.
Getting my Instagram.
Signing prescriptions, updates on patients.
Children these days.
So glued to your technology, all of you. You won't be using them anymore because they are also a risk. One wrong post or text message that's being monitored by an organization that has Second Inquisition, and they'll be at your doorstep taking your head from your body. So we like to just remove the phones from the picture so you don't have to worry about them anymore. As a matter of fact, you can't even really use them with your fingers unless you buy special heated gloves or you try to get yourself a bit of life for the evening. So it's really not worth
We can
keeping.
afford heated gloves, Dad. You've made a lot of money for this family. I don't understand.
Your phones. Give them to me.
My Snapchat streak, Daddy.
This makes no sense to me. We are supposedly powerful beings. We are kindred. We can't make use of modern technology.
And you've said we are superior to humans, and now you're saying they can take our head from our bodies? Like, if I don't understand this Second Inquisition.
You're not invincible, unfortunately, and they have many things well equipped to harm you. Put you into torpor, like a stake. Weapons with
So that
fire.
is true.
That part of it is true, yes. It won't kill you. It'll just put you into torpor. A stake.
Torpor.
Then what's the point?
What is that?
It is...
Dad already said it, Dorian. You should be listening.
Yeah,
You kind of go into a fugue state, a kind of stunned state.
Very
Almost
good,
like a
Silas.
coma.
Sorry, I have a lot on my mind.
Your phones? Once again, I do not want to repeat myself for a third time. Hand them over.
What?
Jacques, can you please?
No!
I grab your phone and I break it.
No! My following.
You
it
know,
not-
for those given the gift of everlasting life, you sure are complaining a lot.
Mother speaks up. Now, again, we should be a bit nicer on them. It is a lot. And we are kind of giving them all of it at once. Usually we try to give them a few nights before we get into all of the phones and technology things in the Second
Wait,
Inquisition.
How many times have you two done this?
Well, in a manner of speaking, not many. But we had to experience this with Jacques as well.
And Jacques, what was it like when you were embraced? You took this with grace and
Oh,
no
We
trouble
didn't
at
have
all.
phones.
we didn't have phones then.
Wrote letters.
If I remember correctly, the War of 1812 had just ended. And I think we celebrated with a blood orgy.
Oh my god.
Now,
All right.
do you all, if you really do wish to learn more about this life in time, there are classes for young fledglings at the University of Chicago. They are run by a very, very old kindred. So you can attend those courses if you do. They are night classes, of course. Or, of course, Silas, you will probably learn much from the Tremere Chantry. It is a special haven for Tremere.
they're not religious, are they?
No, not quite.
Okay.
That'd be
But-
funny.
They are very studious.
I'm okay with studious.
Do you all
Something
have any
funny,
other...
Dorian.
No,
Your face.
no, I'm sorry.
Are there any other questions that you have for the evening, my children?
You mentioned our sires.
Yes.
What does that mean? You are apparently Dorians, and we get random people.
You
Yes.
have random nobodies, which isn't fair, by the way.
They are not nobodies, those who sired you. They are actually quite important people within the city. I got special permission from many individuals within these clans to sire you. Who they are isn't really important right now. You will meet them in time. It's more important that you focus on your life now and this family.
And how important are we, the Lysander family, in the grand scheme of this Camarilla? Are we respected? Are we
Oh.
powerful?
What makes
We-
us so special?
What makes us special is my great-grandfather. He did a favor from a man, a very powerful man coming from the Mediterranean.
Who's the
He
man?
gave him safe passage to this land. Made sure he was protected, and made sure that the Camarilla's interest found a home here in Chicago. Our family's taken his namesake, and from that day forward, we were always welcome to bring one generation into the fold at a time, to embrace them.
You see, this Lysander family comes with a lot of respect and fear. There is a very powerful and ancient vampire tied to this name in your family ancestry that many, many other kindred fear. And that is why we have respect among fellow kindred within this city, and why you all will be brought into this world. While you will be Lysanders, you are still fledglings, which are very, very young, newly embraced kindred. So you will still have to earn respect.
And Ethos Investment Properties, is that nothing? Is that not important anymore?
A continuation of our services for the Camarilla. When they need property, real estate, we make it happen. When they need permits to build underground sanctums or lay foundations for things centuries in the making, we make it happen.
So yes, the family business is still important, son.
Okay.
Well, your mother speaks up. I think this has been quite a lot, and it's only a few hours now till the sun rises, so we have prepared rooms for you all. They are rooms, thankfully, with no windows. You will be safe in there. You will be able to rest for the day until you awake in the next evening.
I have one last question.
Yes, son.
You two never fed on us, right?
Oh!
No, my son. We never did. There's so many others that we can feed on in this city. We would not feed on our own children.
Your
Yes, that-
babysitter in 3rd grade, however. That was my bad.
Oh my,
I wonder where she went.
oh my god.
I had a whoops-a-daisy.
Yes.
Not
Well.
oops, Daisy.
I think with all of that, your mother again speaks up. Why don't we end our dinner for tonight? If there are more questions, of course, you can always ask your father or I. And again, the next couple of nights are probably going to be a little uncomfortable for all of you. The hunger, it will come and go. Well, it won't really go. But we will make sure you're taken care of till we feel you are ready to be out on your own again. So you'll be staying here for the next couple of nights. We'll arrange communication with your places of work. We'll let them know that you're out with a terrible, terrible cold, pneumonia. And you won't be returning to work, to your gigs, to your jobs for quite some time.
Oh, when do we?
I'll have to let Catherine know. My assistant,
We'll make sure that's done. Don't you worry.
When do we? What about my school? Am I just dropping out now? Was that all for nothing?
Oh, my sweet Willow, do you really think you need school to have all of the skills and gifts that you have? No, you don't need to go to school.
Oh,
That's all behind you now.
well, what do we all do now? Do we still have jobs in this weird vampire thing society?
In time, you will learn and understand more.
Oh.
Again, this is all a lot for your first night. So why don't you all go ahead and go to your rooms and rest. And then we'll take you all on your first hunt. And your father gets up. He kind of repositions his shoulders. He adjusts the cufflinks on his suit. He looks at you all, each one of you in the eyes. Gives you all just one last glare.
Oh.
And he leaves without saying any more. Your mother...
At least one thing normal happened tonight.
Your mother
Oh.
and Jacques are ready to lead you to your rooms. Now, as you all head to these rooms, they're probably not the rooms that you grew up in, but your mother tried to leave little things from your childhood in the rooms that you'll be staying in, things that remind you of your younger years. So, for you, Willow, there's your ballet slippers. You were the one that was skilled in ballet, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I had this written somewhere in your notes. For you, actually, you can all tell me what it was that you were skilled at as a child, because you all had things you were very skilled at. Val, do you remember what it was that you had and what was in your room?
Yes, here's my question is, did Momo do those drawings? Because if she didn't, I'm going to change it. But if she did, then I'm going to keep it.
I hadn't gotten that far, so go ahead.
Okay, cool.
Change it now.
She was a figure skater. So, like, similar vibe to Dancer, but she wanted to, you know, wear the cute little figure skating outfits, and that's what she did. She doesn't do it a lot anymore, but she definitely did when she was younger.
Your mother leaves figure skates in the room from your childhood.
Yeah.
Silas, what about you? What was it that you would have had from your childhood?
There'd be a piano in there.
Your old piano, and it wasn't... You do have a grand piano in the house, but this one was one of the smaller... Not an electric keyboard, but just a smaller piano that's left in the room.
A little upright.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then Dorian, what is it from your childhood that you were so gifted at?
Chess. There'd be a chessboard,
Hmm.
I imagine. And probably a bookshelf full of books. I was an avid reader as well.
And you all kind of contemplate for a moment all of the things that your family told you. The things about the Camarilla, the masquerade, feeding. It's a lot. It's just so much to take in and process, and it's hard. It really is. But there's still a few hours before the sun does come up. So you all have a moment to discuss amongst each other if you feel you want to.
Oh my god. As we all go down the hall into our room, yeah.
If there's anything anybody would like to say before you rest for the night or the day.
Silas leaves.
Silas?
Oh, I'm sorry, Silas. Jacques leaves.
It's like,
I was like, oh, okay. Like,
Get the fuck
No,
out,
sorry.
Silas!
yeah, right. I guess I'll just go play my piano alone in my bedroom.
My mistake.
Sorry.
Please play staccato, please.
Is it strange that I think that somehow this is all very fitting for what we know of Dad and Mom already?
I wish it was strange.
I mean, it explains a lot.
Do you think they'll be around more now that we're also like them?
No.
Do you want them to be?
Maybe not.
I mean,
I don't think them being kindred had anything to do with how we were brought up.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, we're not any different now. I mean, as people, or whatever we are. They are who they are.
Oh.
But it explains a lot. I always knew Dad was dangerous. I just didn't realize. I couldn't have guessed.
who could have? Who? 24 hours ago, we were living our lives, Dorian. All I know is if we are kindred now, then maybe it is a fresh start. Maybe we can make our own stories away from this dreaded nightmare we call a family.
You didn't like your life?
What do you mean I didn't? What do you
Why
mean,
do you-
Willow?
Why do you want a fresh start? You're married and you're a successful doctor. Why do you want to?
We never married. We separated, Willow.
You're separated?
Yes.
Well, Dorian's married and he has kids and you don't want a fresh start. You don't want this, right?
I had a fresh start, Willow. I had a life away from the Lysanders. Even the name itself in the city got doors open for me. I tried to make a name for myself without Dad's influence.
You abandoned us.
Oh, come off it, Dorian.
You
Abandon.
left. We could have done things together. We could have changed this family,
I was
but you
3
left.
miles away. Did you ever text? Did you ever call? Oh, I need to take over the business for Dad. I love Dad.
It's not
so
for
astute.
Dad. It's to make changes. It's to change the course of this family, and we could have done that together.
If Silas abandoned you, then so did I. And I wanted to.
No, Val. No.
But now we're all stuck with each other.
We didn't
And
abandon.
that's not a problem with you guys, but I don't.
We didn't abandon anyone, Val.
I didn't even know you were separated.
Well, Willow, we work on different times. Our lives.
What's that mean?
You're at school. You're always out. Look, guys. Our phones did work both ways. But at the end of the day, this is a lot. And I don't know what the future holds, but it is kind of nice to be back in the house with you three. And the shit about Alan, like...
What are we gonna do about Alan?
I don't know.
Are we
Maybe
gonna
there's-
actually do what they say, Silas?
Maybe there's something we can do with Alan.
I still think it's better to leave him out of it. Let him do what we wanted to.
I don't want to go to our baby brother's funeral at dusk, like Jacques said.
We don't have to do what they say. We never do anyway. I don't. The only one who listens to our parents is Dory. No offense, Dorian.
That's not true. I do what I have to.
I said no offense. We don't have to listen now.
We are not leaving this house, Willow, if that's what you're thinking.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
I need to talk to Adeline. I don't.
You're not
What am
allowed
I
to.
gonna do about Adeline? I can't. I don't want to go to her funeral.
What if she ends up like one of those people in that room? Do not contact your wife, Dorian. We don't know what Mom and Dad will do. We don't know what Jacques will do. They've already said there's power beyond our recognition, beyond our control. Like, you contact your wife, you could be killing her.
Or your
And if I leave her, if I abandon her to this life,
That's a decision you have to make.
I don't know if I can do that.
At least you have your boys.
Do I?
They're theirs,
In time.
apparently.
Yeah, I mean, they called humans, it's so weird. They called humans cattle, but treating you and my nephews as breeding stock for this fucking life. Just it's something to make note.
They misunderstood me. When I said cattle, you called them cattle. I was talking about what we have to do now. Doesn't seem any different.
I'm sure they'll be fine, Dorian. Like
Dad
Dad has Laura. I'm sure there's people that can keep eyes on him and on them. Make sure they're safe.
We're partners. I'm not like Dad. I'm not going to be like Dad. I'm not going to raise my kids the way he raised us.
I mean, I wasted 8 years in school, and now I'm a Tremere or whatever the fuck they said. I don't know. And I can't even smoke.
Wait, do you think that works for all substances?
Probably.
Asking hypothetically for a friend.
We don't have lungs. We don't have working digestive systems. Mom said, or Dad said that if we eat, we get ill.
Oh shit! Can we drink?
Probably not.
Why don't you go find out?
They said occasionally.
Bet you
but
won't
I
do
don't
it.
know what that means.
Just sorry.
Is there any alcohol available around us?
Do it! Bet you won't!
You did.
You're muted.
Oops. There is, if you...
Go on.
You know this house. You know where the kitchen area is. You
Pour
know
yourself a
where the
scotch.
bar area is. Your family does have a bar. It is... kind of makes sense now why there is so much alcohol there, and it seems like it never goes drank.
I just assumed that the staff kept it topped up, but
Nah.
I will quickly run to get a scotch from the cabinet.
Yeah, you
Probably
will.
picking the most expensive one, just the finest one that would be saved for special occasions, and bring it back to my siblings. I pop the cork and just drink straight from the bottle.
Well,
You do take the drink, and it still tastes like scotch to you. It doesn't have that effect when you drink it where you recoil because it's so strong. But you're able to drink it. And you drink it, and for a moment you think, okay, well, that was easy. But then, you feel it, the welling up, and you begin to retch in front of all of your siblings.
nasty.
It's at this moment that your uncle appears from the shadows.
Oh God! Not this little rat man.
And Jacques, you are an elder vampire, and you, well, unfortunately for reasons, you can't indulge in food and drink. But you know that these little fledglings can if they wanted to. If they rouse their blood, they're able to blush of life. And they would be able to, that surge of blood that they have, they would be able to breathe life again for a moment and enjoy food and drink. And you can teach them how to do that.
How would they go about rousing the blood? Is it just like innate, like in their mind?
It is, in a way. It's kind of like a surge that they do that kind of activates that vitae inside of them. And we don't have to get into detail on how it's described, But Jacques
No, I
does...
think I got it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it's something again that eventually becomes more innate for kids.
Each of you, do as I say if you wish to imbibe these kind of delights. Take a deep breath. Focus your thoughts. Focus your heart rate until you feel the blood rush to your face. As you start to feel warm and clammy for a moment, you'll have what they call the blush of life. It'll allow you to fake it among the kind and blend in when needed. Do it now.
And will I still feel the effects of the alcohol? Will I be able to?
You'll be able to fake it. You'll be able to feel like a person for a moment.
Can I take the bottle from Dorian and take a swig after doing the whole meditation?
Well, they all need to make a
So-
rouse check, right?
Yes, for all of you who would like to attempt this, which your uncle is teaching you,
I need a drink.
you go
Yep.
ahead and make a rouse check. If you succeed, that means you don't get hungrier. If you fail, that
Oh,
means
I got
you get a little
hungrier.
bit hungrier.
I
Yes.
succeeded.
And oop.
Silas will
uncle-
not be rousing his blood after
will
seeing
not be
Dorian
either.
projectile vomiting. He doesn't trust Jacques. He doesn't. He's like,
I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I tried to rouse my blood, and I take another swig from the bottle, only to throw up again.
Val is desperate to.
So they
prove
still
that
rouse
she can
even if
do
they
it.
fail.
So, actually,
Oh.
Dorian, you are able to consume. Your hunger goes up, but
Okay.
the checks you still are able to blush of life. You just
Got
are
it,
a little
sorry.
hungrier.
Jock conveniently waits until after the most of you have done this rouse to inform you.
Of course, there's a chance it will increase your hunger, making your need to feed on the kind once again all the more urgent. I wouldn't recommend ignoring your hunger. That's how I did my last whoops-a-daisy.
Oh,
Can't imagine you ignoring it.
Well, sometimes it's easy to find a kind that's your appetite. I was having what you might call a bad week.
And how many people have you oops-a-daisied?
In my time, 20 or so.
20. 20 people.
That's one for every 10 years I've been alive. That's not bad.
that constitutes a serial killer, I think.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's still in the low 20s. That's not so bad. I've known kindreds who have left hundreds of bodies behind. They don't last long, though.
So you don't feel bad about this at all? There's no guilt, no feeling of shame. I mean, you've lost control. You said we're not to kill people.
Mistakes happen. When you've lived as long as I have, people come and go.
Mistakes. Okay.
whoopsie daisies. You know.
Uh,
Right.
How many has Dad had? Whoopsie daisies.
Just the one, I think.
One? What do you mean the one? Why did you say that like I should know who the one is?
Oh,
You said it cryptically, like we should all know.
I wouldn't worry about it. I made sure to clean up after your father.
No.
A service I'm happy to provide to all of you if you behave. I have ways of making these whoops-a-daisies go away.
I think the people Dad has accidentally killed are probably the least of our worries.
And without phones, how do we get in contact with you?
Smoke signals?
That was good, Willow.
You misunderstand. We're not... You're part of our world now. You didn't think you saw us enough before. Well, good news. Your family's gonna have a much more active participation in your life now.
I was quite happy with the amount we were seeing you, Jacques. No disrespect.
Oh, you won't have to see me.
Oh,
Case in point, I've been standing in this room since you walked in.
oh, that's rude. I don't like that. No, thank you.
We all have our gifts. It's the reason why I encouraged Silas to give you all different sires. It's a way of diversifying the family, while we owe our roots to Lysander.
And what clan was
Ventrue.
he?
Ventrue. They haven't always lasted the test of time, myself being a keen example. I've only lasted this long because I know how to be careful. How to clean up after myself.
How old were you when you know?
I was 25. I had just been shot with a musket ball. It was my father's way of saving my life. A mistake he paid for dearly. One must never sire without permission from your elders. My father was beheaded the next day.
How did
Why
they
were you
know?
Why were you left in undeath, I guess?
I had children. The family name was to be considered.
I see.
You all have
It's
much to learn.
It's a tense moment between all of you as you sit here with your uncle, not uncle. You still sometimes call him Uncle Jacques, but you know he's not really your uncle.
Our uncle grandpa, something like that.
Oh my god, not
And-
our Uncle Grandpa.
It is once again an unsettling scene. Him appearing from
The
the
shadows.
darkness.
Mm-hmm.
His face, now as you see it in a different light from the dinner table, more and more things about it that just make you feel a little uncomfortable. Val, more than any, feels the most uncomfortable at things that aren't quite of beauty. And you all stand together in this moment, and your uncle takes his leave. Or did he? Is there any other conversation that any of you would like to say before the sun rises on this evening?
I think with the knowledge of Uncle Jacques being able to do that is, for Silas, the conversation's over.
Mm-hmm.
If any of you want to make a wits awareness roll, you can see if you can find out where he might be.
We
Sure.
can find out if we're being watched, I see.
Just out of
Might as
curiosity.
well.
So, wits
And what do I have
awareness
to do
and-
if I am there?
So we have to do wits or awareness first.
Yes, you would do awareness first and then one moment.
Yeah, I
Let me
did
just-
awareness and wits, and I have 2 successes.
One moment.
Ooh, critical, right?
Ooh, Val,
Or no?
that's perfect.
Just want to see something actually with. I would say for this, Val rolled 4 successes, while the rest of you only had 1, 2, 3 successes. With 4 successes, you are able to sense Jacques' presence, but the obfuscate, you're not quite able to see where he is. It's more of a feeling you have.
Ugh. I feel like the hair raised on the back of my neck.
Yes, it is kind of a chilling moment as you know that there is somebody else here.
If I don't sense where they are, then I want to go to bed. I don't like this.
I reward her ability to notice me by just blowing gently on her hair.
I hate it. I hate
That's a
it.
reward. What kind of
What a
reward is
reward.
this?
There's your
How's it-
treat.
Yeah, what's your breath smell like? Can you give us a description?
I want a
Blood.
description.
Smells like AB negative.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, if we're all going to bed, I feel like, of course, in perfect synchronization, we all have to go in and close our doors at the same time. I feel like I just need to, as we're walking into our rooms, just give a, just to be clear, I'm not doing this. Okay? She's trying to say as little as possible with as much meaning as possible. Good night. I'll definitely see you all tomorrow.
That sounded like a lie, but all right. Good night.
Good night,
She
Jacques.
closes her door. Oh my god, good night, sweet Prince Jacques.
Now, you all rest for the day, and your slumber, as we'll call it, it's not really a rest that you would have as a human, as kind. When you rest this day, you basically are out like a light, and then you're back. You don't have dreams. You don't wake up in the middle of the night to use the restroom or grab a drink. The time of sleep, it's not to rest and recharge your body. It's simply to be out of existence while the sun is up, until the sun goes down and you can rouse into the next day. And you all stay at your parents' house for the next few weeks. Your father does arrange for all of your jobs, your school, and your close family members and people you talk to regularly. And you don't have the ability, or you want to reach out and you want to contact, but your family keeps a pretty close eye on you in these nights. And it's not just your father and mother, but various retainers and ghouls. The house never seems, it always seems busy, actually. When you walk out of your room, there are people walking around. It's very weird. The family house doesn't even feel like a family house. It's never just you guys. There's always other people around, including your uncle.
Mm.
And Jacques, you, in the nights to come, you spend time with Silas Sr. and Anna. And you kind of have your... Silas actually kind of comes with a bit of a report and gets your thoughts on what you think of the children thus far.
Go on then.
They are adapting as expected for the most part.
Yes. It is to be expected, their reactions. You know this.
I think we need to be careful with Willow and Dorian, his attachments to his family. A little bit too much too soon.
I do understand that there may be concerns, but I do have faith in Willow. I don't think she will do anything to dishonor this family.
I don't know. She's a spinning image of your great aunt Lisa.
I know she's no longer with us.
I had to decapitate her myself.
Yes, I am aware. But I think Willow, she's special. She's different. You know, her kind, they get these visions. I'm curious to see what kind of visions and things Willow will see. It may help us for the future.
Perhaps.
Dorian, I do see some concern in with his family. I think he's going to have a hard time letting go of his wife. We may need to expedite that.
You know, if we don't want to turn his wife into a ghoul, she could always have an accident. There's plenty of other kindred who would be better mothers to his offspring.
I do agree. I have a few Ventrue in mind, a few blue bloods.
Yes.
It's something to consider. I don't want to act on it just yet because, of course, may make him a bit less useful. But we'll give it some time, and if it does seem like it'll be a problem, I will let you know.
As for Val, do you think we'll be able to get her to acquiesce to the new kind of art the Toreador have to show her?
She's very quick to adapt. She's very quick to learn. She's very quick-witted. So I do see that her gifts will be put to good use among the other roses. You know, her sire is one of the most popular among the Rose Garden. I got very special permission for that one. So I think she'll do just fine.
As for Silas,
Yes.
I think things might work out. But if they don't, at least you'll have a new identity to take in the next 20 years.
Yes, my son, after my own name. That one. He was supposed to take the business, but of course my second-born son was the one to take it. But you're right. In time, that could happen. And unfortunately, there are things to look out for him as well. His clan is not always to be trusted. And I fear once he gets a taste of the Tremere Chantry and the Regent, they have their own secrets that I do not trust.
Hmm.
But perhaps we can extract some of those secrets from him.
Hmm. I hope you both know what you're doing.
I am confident that my children will not disappoint me. They are my heirs. They are my blood, even though we don't share the same blood of clans anymore. They are still my blood.
Hmm. Your blood or not. Next week, I think they'll need to hunt on their own.
Yes.
And should one of them mess up, the Camarilla is not forgiving.
We know what to do. Before they are brought to the prince or any others, they will be ready. And if they don't make it that far, well, so be it.
Sigh. I will only be bringing them in front of the prince if it's by their bloody neck. If it comes to that, I will make sure I have my house in order.
It will be, Jacques. Don't think that I don't know what I'm doing. I've brought our business to where it is. I brought the Lysander name to what it is while you remained in the shadows, in the sewers, like the sewer rat that all of the Nosferatu are.
Hold your tongue! Sewer rat,
Daddy.
perhaps. But rats will happily feed on your corpse if your children are not kept in line. Go now.
He once again, in his standard fashion, Silas Sr., anytime he leaves the room, he always repositions his posture, stands up straight. And he does the same in this moment. And he leaves the room. The four of you, however, have many things that you still need to do. And before we conclude for this evening in our first session, as the weeks pass and more food is brought to you and you learn more about what you do like to feed off of, what you don't. Some of the food that's brought to you, you are the kind, I should say, you don't enjoy it. Especially you, Silas. Every person that's brought it to you, it hurts to really even want to feed from them because you've helped people your entire life. And to feel like you're bringing harm upon them, it feels wrong. And in time, your family begins to understand that you don't want to feed from people. Although Jacques or your father will tell you that it's only inevitable that you will. But they do offer you an alternative if you feel the need to. They hand you a blood pack, and you are able to feed from it. And it tastes not the best, but it is satiating. Your hunger does go down. You feel better. But it's not the same as that first night when you took that bite from that person. It just doesn't taste the same. And Chris, you've received a gift in the mail from your dear Storyteller.
Yes.
As Chris is a player who loves props, and he decided to choose his feeding type to be something very special.
Oh God.
I just messaged in the group. I was like, did you change your feeding type?
Chris, what did you change it to?
As a feeding type of a bagger that you are.
You're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
This is raising some questions in this household, but it is perfect.
This man got bags.
I got blood bags.
Crystal makes use of this
I see some dots in
outside of-
chat from Helveticat, you know?
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to make some red jello or something like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
she wondering why you got bags in there.
Filthy
your-
bagger.
Yes, as your predator type, you chose bagger.
You little
You
bagger.
feed from blood bags, from blood packs, and it's not great, but you got them. And so that's something you learn in the coming nights. And all of you begin to learn what type of people you like to feed from. And when we go on your first hunt, you will learn more about that. But the final thing we will do as these weeks pass, I want you all to roll just a simple D4.
Okay.
And so you can
How
do
we
that. On the left side, there's a little, that little toolbar. You'll see the D20 die. You can just hit D4, or you can type /roll D4 in the chat.
I got a 3.
Same.
Who?
Also a 3.
Oh, three threes.
Jacques, I think you're okay for this. Actually, no. This applies for all of you, all 5 of you.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
This is what your hunger will be at for the next session.
Oh.
Yeah, I got 2, baby.
Thankfully, none of you got a 4, because hunger 4 is not great, but hunger 3 is pretty bad. So things might get messy. Because actually, everybody, since the chat can't see, can everybody just tell us what you all rolled? Jacques,
2.
Silas,
3.
3.
Val,
3.
and
2
Willow.
for me.
2. So we have quite a few at 3. As it's been a few weeks and the various levels of rouse checking, eating, this is what your hunger will be for your hunt. Next week, when we return to Ancestral Blood, and these kindred explore more about themselves, about their clans, their disciplines, and much, much more. So, with all of that, we will see you all next week. We, of course, have much more programming on the schedule for MagiRPG. Tomorrow, we'll be back at 6 p.m. for Blades in the Dark. So we will see you for Blades in the Dark tomorrow night. Of course, Thursday, Rock and Roll Play, 6 p.m., 9 p.m. Pacific. And Friday, Grim Domain, 6 p.m., 9 p.m. Pacific. And then
9 p.m.
next
Eastern. 9 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And then Sunday, Icewind Dale Cold-Blooded at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. All of those shows you can watch before we return next Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern for episode 2 of Ancestral Blood. Yay! Thank you all, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed it. How you guys feeling? Good? Good?
I'm excited. I'm
Okay.
excited to get out there
I'm
and
hype.
yeah,
I know it was a lot of learning. I know it was like a lot of information.
it was the perfect amount. You
But,
know, like
you know,
it was.
it was
I'm
good.
ready to feed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
chat,
Ready
you
to
have to come back next
ready
week
to
because we
slaughter.
get a time skip. These people are going to be different. They are kindred.
We're
Yeah.
Back to see what they
They
look
get to actually
like.
leave the house.
Unhinged.
I'm built
Unhinged.
different.
Yeah,
I'm built
you know?
different.
Whew, all right.
Like a baked
all right.
bean.
I hope you all enjoyed, everybody, and we will see you for the next one.
All right.
Night.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Blood.
Oh my god, not the blood.